Hi everybody, welcome to my loft on this September 18th, 2025. I'm Rusty Blackwood, and I'm here today to mark the 10th anniversary of my mother's passing, 10 years ago on September 18th, 2015. This is kind of like a bittersweet video, but I wanted to do this in her honor, to remember her, something a little different than just posting a picture with, a little salutation or something, just to mark the occasion. And I am in honor of my mom. My mother's very, very favorite pattern to wear in clothing was polka dots. And so, as you can see, I'm wearing a polka dot pattern today. It's brown and white. And I've just got a little bit of like a little bolero sweater over the top of it because it's a bit chilly this morning up here in the loft. And I'm just going to model this for you. Just pull up my boots. I've got over the knee boots on here. Keep my legs warm. And and so as you can see, I've got, I'll just turn the camera upwards here a little bit to catch it. And please excuse my messy loft. I haven't tidied it up yet. So as you can see, it's very loose. It's got a flounce around the bottom. It's very bohemian, very loose. It's got a nice swing to it. It's a nice material, easy care material for anybody that's interested in this type of thing. And of course, I'm wearing one of my hats. I love hats. This is basically white and cream with lace, a big lace flower in it here, a little bit puts emphasis on the hat to quite an extent. I'm just playing around with it here. As you can see, there's things hanging off of it and stuff hanging out and whatever. And so it is what it is, and it will do for this video. And so I think my mom, I'm going to move us back over here to my set. If it's a little wonky, please bear with me and excuse me. I got to see where I'm going. And sit down here and watch where I'm sitting so I don't end up falling. Wouldn't that be lovely? That would be that'd be a bestseller, I'm sure, if that were to happen. But I'm just going to back up here, back you up to me, bring you up to me, so that I can talk into the camera. I'm having a bit of a problem with my camera. It's only lighting on the one side, and I have checked that before, checked it out, but it doesn't seem to be lighting on the one side. And I checked the short video I did prior to this video just to see what the focus was like, if it was still recording properly and if it was still visually decent to watch, and it appears to be. So I'm just going to use this today. I think whether I want to or not, as I said the other day in my video, I had just got a new computer, now Windows 11, and this camera is compatible to Windows 11, and so there should be no problem that way. There was no problem with it the other day when I did my video. The visual was fine, everything was fine. And so, but I still think, because I can't get it to light on both sides, the bar that shows, I think I'm going to have to upgrade to a new camera. So this has been this has been a very expensive year for me, technically. So cheers, everybody. I'm having some tea in my giant head-sized rusty cup. I hope this is a good day for everybody. And for you, Mama, to you. This is my mama, Norma Weber Beecroft. This is Mommy. I hope that you can see without there being a glare too much. It's hard to show photographs like this on a video without it being, as you can see. I don't want to take it too close because then it can be out of focus. My mother was a lovely woman. This picture was taken, I believe my mother was 80 when this picture was taken. As you can see, she's wearing floral print. I remember this big band coming down both sides here was a bright yellow, and the basic pattern was blues and burgundies with this touch of yellow. And my mom was a very conservative woman, very, very prim and proper. Although my mom loved to laugh, she loved to have a good time. She loved to dance. My mom loved her family immensely. This coming Saturday is my grandson, Rick, my only grandson, who is my brother's namesake, Rick. And when Ricky was a little boy, my mother, she just doted on Ricky. He was her apple of her eye. He really was. She used to always call him her little man. And whenever she would be down here staying for a visit for a while or whatever, she used to come fairly often. And of course, in later years, we would go there to see her because she was getting so that she just couldn't travel the best. My mom was 93 when she passed. She would have been 94 had she lived until Christmas Day in the year 2015. And so just 4 months shy of, let me see, September, October, November, December, just over 3 months shy of her 94th birthday. Today my mom would be 103, coming 104 on Christmas Day. I think that's kind of cool. In my heart, she will always be living. And regardless of how old I live to be, my mom was 27 years older than me, so whatever I make it to, add 27 years, and that will be my mother. And so, as I said, my grandson Ricky was my mother's pride and joy. She loved all her grandchildren, all her great-grandchildren as well, which Ricky was one. She was, and he was. And she was just so taken with him. And she used to call him her little man. And as he got older, and she was still calling him her little man, and he would say to her, "Grandma, great grandma, I'm not little anymore." So she started calling him her big little man. So he accepted that, like, well, what was he supposed to do? It wouldn't have mattered. She would have continued to call him what she chose to. My mom was very, very focused. She was very, whatever she wanted to do, she did it. She was a very, very independent woman right up until the end of her life. She called the shots. And I'm fighting a cold here, so bear with me. My youngest granddaughter, Sarah, who lives in the house here, my son Jason co-owns this house and property with me now. And of course Jason and his family live here as well. And so they live on the main floor of the house, and I live in the loft here, and we share the kitchen and other amenities, in the house. And the rec room in the basement and the yard. Of course, I look after all the gardens and stuff. And so, and Sarah's been battling a cold, a virus. She went to the doctor the other day, and he said just a cold, had to run its course, and she has such a cough. And she feels okay, but it's just this cough. It just drives her batty, drives everybody batty, really. But I mean, she can't help it. And so I've been trying to keep my distance because I don't want to catch anything with with his wedding the day after tomorrow. Um, and I'm going to be there come H or high water. And and so and so as I say, if my mom were here, um, in physical form, I'm sure she's here, but if she were here in physical form, where she could actually attend the wedding, she would be over the moon. She would be just tickled pink, and and rightfully so, you know. Um, oh, I have very many memories of my mom, um, as far back as I think I was 4 years old, as far back as my memories as I can get them. And the things that I can remember, not a lot of things, but things that um, obviously must have made an impact on me. Some of them aren't the nicest. I remember my paternal grandmother's funeral. I don't really remember my grandmother so much because she was very elderly when I was born. I can remember her walking. She had arthritis bad and she was bent over. She used to push a chair on the kitchen floor to walk. She didn't have a walker, so she used this kitchen chair, and it was low. It wasn't a high one. It was low backed, and she would just come up to her waist or so she could push it. And I remember her hair was white. In her youth, she had extremely long hair. It would come down. She could probably sit on it. It was so long, and it was deep auburn. And but I remember it was very white, and it was all wound up. Um, like they wore, like the women wore back then. And but I don't remember her voice. I don't remember any interaction with her. But I can remember which was her funeral. It was held out of the house, and they used the parlor. That's where Grandma was. The casket was in one corner, and there was the two torchieres either end of the coffin. That I always refer to torchieres anymore as funeral lights, because in a lot of ways that's what I think about when I see them, because their illumination is upward, so it goes up to the ceiling and sort of spreads and illuminates downward from there. And these lights were a soft pink, and so of course pink is one of the nicest colors for creating calmness and a subtle glow in the room, and helps people's complexions. It's just next to candlelight, it's one of the nicest colors of lighting that you can use. And so there's a tip for you all if you're looking at something for your next dinner party or whatever, and that you can try it out, because it does work. and so I can remember that, and I can remember all the people sitting in the parlor and all these chairs. There was no furniture. The furniture obviously had been taken out to make room for all these folding chairs that must have come from the church or must have come from the community hall or something, because they were all in lines. I can remember that. And I can remember hearing noise coming from the kitchen, like dishes being moved around and clinking, and cups being set on saucers and stuff, because that was the country custom, that when someone passed away in the neighborhood, the neighborhood women um, looked after the reception following the funeral, making sure that there was sandwiches and there was little cakes and stuff, and coffee and tea. And so the family didn't have to worry about any of that, because the ladies of the neighborhood, they looked after all of that, and they would bring food, not just the day of the funeral, but they would bring food to the family, to the house, and that was to help the family to have to not worry about cooking and things like that. There was always something to eat, lots of things to choose from. And this would continue, leading up to the funeral and for a few days after. And it was very thoughtful. I don't know whether they did that in the cities or not at that time. I know they don't do it now, but I think that is a really cool custom, and it's very thoughtful. And so 10 years. What can I say? Just they seem to have gone by just bang. Here we are 10 years now. And if I had known 10 years ago, when Mom passed away, that 9 years later I would be losing my only brother, my only sibling. And as hard as it is to be without my mom. Of course, my dad, it's been 50 years since my dad passed away. I had my mother 40 years longer than my dad. My dad was only 66 when he passed. I think he got robbed very young. And so I had Mama for 40 more years. And then I had my brother for 41 more. And it's hard to lose your parents, because without your parents you wouldn't be here. But it's been even harder for me losing my brother. Totally different than my mom. At least for me, I can only judge by the impact to me. Maybe other people can say, would maybe say something different of the way the losing of their brother or sister affect them. But it was just Rick and me. We were the only two Mom and Dad had. And we were close. My brother was my best friend all my life. And it's been very hard for me. Of course, this is the first year. He passed December 27th, 2024. And just seemed to come out of nowhere. They say he passed away from pneumonia, which, he was 81 years old. He would have been 82 had he lived until the coming February 4th. And the last time I saw him was November 5th, I believe, the first Saturday anyway of November of 24. His grandson's wedding, one of his grandson, Mart, his wedding. And we were all there for that. And I thought my brother looked a little pale. And I asked him, if he was okay, and he said, yeah, he was okay. But then again, that was Rick. He wouldn't tell you if there was anything wrong to begin with. He was like Mom in that way. You just never knew. Um, they were very, I guess, stubborn, maybe, determined, definitely, and and so when I hugged him that night, little did I know that would be the last time that I would ever do that. And I talked to him, in November later, and on the phone, and again in December, a couple of times leading up to when this happened, and he was coughing, and I thought his voice kind of sounded a little off, and I asked him if he was all right, and he said, "Oh yeah," and I said, "Now come on, this is little sister you're talking to here. Are you okay?" Because I was picking up on something, and he said, "Well," he said, I think I just caught a cold and fighting a cold." And then that was that, and Christmas come, and I Christmas Day, um, I had gone to my oldest son Jamie for Christmas dinner, as I always do. And when I got home that night, I was going to call Rick and Susie to wish them a Merry Christmas, because I knew in the daytime they would be at their daughter Debbie's for the day, because that's what they always did. And so I was just in the act, after I got home from Jamie's, I was just in the act of calling Rick and Susie, and the phone rang, and it was Susie calling to tell me that Rick was in hospital. And so I asked her, like, "Is this serious? Like, should I come?" And she said, "No, no, no." She says they just thought it would be best to take him there because he had been taking antibiotics and it didn't seem to be helping, and so they sent him to hospital for some tests and checkup and stuff like that. And they apparently their diagnosis was walking pneumonia, and so that was that. I asked Susie, "Please keep me informed," because I would have gone. I wish now I had gone anyway. And I never heard any more from Susie, and then so I called Debbie to see what was going on, and she would keep me posted. And then on the 27th, she contacted me to let me know that the hospital had contacted them and said that Rick's organs were shutting down and to come. And well, there was no possible way I could get there. Like, this is over 130 miles away from where I am to where Rick was. And there was no way I could get there in time. And this was around 4 in the afternoon. And so I told Debbie, "Please tell him from me, from little sister. Tell him I love him. And I'm with him. I'll always be with him." And so she let me know right after he passed. And she told him, she told me she had told him what I had said. She said each one of them got some alone time with him, got to talk to him and say their goodbyes. And so she told me she told him from me, and so she says, I'm positive, I'm positive Aunt Carol, he heard me, he knew, because you see he had been not been conscious. But I believe that too, that people hear you. They would kind of wait for you to be there to say your goodbyes, and however you have to do that. And that was my only way. And it will be 9 months since my brother's been gone on the 27th of this month. So, and 3 years ago tomorrow, one of my older first cousins, Harold, he was the drummer in the Midnight Ramblers, our family band, that he will have passed. Yeah. It's hard to come to terms with these people that mean so very much to you, to realize they're not here anymore in form. And you have no choice. You must go forward until your time comes and you're going to pass. And I do believe we'll all be together again. There's just no alternative to that course of thinking for me. And so it's hard to be the last one of your family, your original family, your parents and your siblings. But so I guess somebody's got to be last. Somebody's got to be first and somebody's got to be last. And as my son Jamie told me, he said, Mom, he said, it's gone in succession the way it should. Yeah, I guess. Father first, next the mother, and next an older sibling, and now it's just me. And that's kind of, I guess it's just knowing I have to stand alone for the rest of my life as far as my own family. They're with me, they're in here, and there's oftentimes I can hear them. I can hear what they would have to say to me about something. Right now they would be telling me, come on, pull up your bootstraps, be a big girl. And I am. My mother taught me well. And, I've got tears here. And it's tears in mourning. But it's also tears of special times and laughter and joy and love. I love them dearly. Can't even begin to stipulate how much. And I guess it's not until all of a sudden they're not on the other end of the phone that realization really, really hits home. That's I think the hardest part to cope with. I mean, it was like that with Mom for the longest time after she passed, for me coming to terms with, I wanted to ask her something or whatever, and I'd go call her, and now I can't. And that is with my brother Rick, because we shared a lot. I told my brother things I've never told anybody else. And I knew I was always safe in doing that because it never went any further. He was my rock. He was my confidant. He was my best friend. I miss him. Maybe in time, because I've found that to be so with my mom.
Because I remember when she passed, I'm thinking to myself, how can I go on with my mother? But I did, and took quite a few years, but it kept getting easier and easier. Because I know she's here with me, she's in me, and now that's where I am with my brother. Um, Coping the best I can. I hear certain songs because I mean, as I say, we were musicians, our family band, and even years after, Rick stayed involved in music, all the different jams he had, and he would go to. He was a seasoned musician, great guitarist, great bassist, great singer. Even though he would never admit to that, but he was. And I stated that in the eulogy I gave at his funeral, and because I spoke about the early part of Rick's life that Susie and Debbie um, and Rochelle and Laura Lee and Kenny wouldn't know, and but I covered a lot, just not the early years, but a lot, and and so whenever I hear certain songs that Rick did, of course, and I'll play them because for me, it helps me, and it brings me comfort. It may be upsetting, but it brings me a form of comfort, and and that's so badly needed to come to terms with this and to continue coping with it and moving forward. And of course, that you have no choice. But every one of them would tell me that, keep going, um, stand on your feet, and be proud. Be proud of who you are and your family. We're all within you, and we're proud of your own family, my own family, my kids and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren, and the same with my brother's family, his daughters and his son and his grandchildren and his great grandchildren. And I will see all of them on Saturday at my grandson's wedding, and so I am very, very much looking forward to that. Um, and and so, it's going to be a little bittersweet because Rick isn't going to be there, um, but he'll be there in spirit, and my first husband Louis, who is Ricky's grandfather, um, he he has dementia, and it is starting to worsen, and he can't travel, so he isn't going to be there in form, but he, I'm sure, will be there in spirit. And so, since my granddaughter Carson's wedding 6 years ago, when everybody was there, of course, with not mom because it was just 6 years ago that Carson got married. But Rick was there, and Louis was there, and Louis's wife Bernice was there, and like she's gone, and and now Rick and Louis not able to be there, not able to travel, and and even that for me, I know what's coming, and my first husband was the love of my life. It's my first love, and to this day, even yet. And it's not taking anything away from my estranged husband, Doug, but it is what it is, and I'm sure a lot of people can understand that or associate themselves in their own life with something along those same lines. And so, Mama, I miss you. I miss you. There's not a day goes by I don't think about you at some point. But I think my mother lived a very long, she had a hard life, but I think overall she had a productive life, and I think she had a good life. And we're all we're all better off in knowing her and having had her in our lives. And so, Mama and dear brother Rick and cousin Harold, I miss you all. I love you all so much. And thank you for being in my life and all that you give me, all that we shared. It will always be in my memory. It will always be in my heart, as will all of you. So thank you so much for being with me today. I made this special video today in honor of my mother. And so I've gone way over my time that I try to devote to videos, but that's okay. It comes as it comes, and you can't rush things. And so I hope you'll like this video, and I hope that you will comment it and you talk to me if you're going through stuff like this yourself. It always helps to talk. It's one of the best things you can do is talk out your feelings. Don't bottle them up. Don't keep them to yourself. Talk them out with someone who you can trust and who's close to you that you know will understand. And please share it if you will, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I wish God's blessings to each of you, and I hope that you have a very, very good day. As my little great-grandsons and I say now, peace and love be with you all. Bye for now.